Chosen one. You did not arrive here by accident, and this moment is not random. Heaven does not waste timing. What drew you to this message is the same hand that sealed your scroll before you were born, and now in perfect alignment with heaven's clock, that scroll is beginning to open. Chosen one. You are standing at the edge of a destined moment. A long-hidden identity, a buried assignment, a truth that once had to remain concealed, is now surfacing. This is not coincidence. This is Kairos. This is the appointed hour written for you, the moment when preparation meets revelation. As it is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, there is a time for every purpose under heaven, and your time is now approaching. Anointed one, what has been delayed has not been denied. What was hidden was protected. The vision was always for an appointed time, and as Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 declares, it will surely come and will not delay. Heaven is accelerating what has been incubating in silence. Pay attention to what stirs in your spirit right now. This message is not entertainment, it is an invocation. Expect movement, expect clarity, expect shifts in perception, position, or provision. Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22 reminds us that when the time is right, the Lord makes it happen swiftly. Chosen one, steady your heart. The unveiling has begun. Chosen one, hear me with your spirit. What just happened wasn't drama. It wasn't a lucky moment. It wasn't you trying to impress anyone. It was a timed unveiling, an appointment. And the reason it shook people is because they weren't prepared to witness what heaven had been preparing in secret. Chosen one, you didn't lie to anyone. You did something holy and rare in a loud world you revealed in layers. You gave them what their capacity could hold, stage by stage, because not everyone deserves the full weight of your becoming before they've proven they can honor it. That's not manipulation. That's wisdom. That's discernment. That's protection. And let me say this plainly, the mask they accuse you of wearing was never a costume. It was covering. It was incubation. It was a hidden season where God was doing deep work behind closed doors, while people only saw surface-level fragments and assumed they had the whole story. Chosen one. Some of them are furious because the reveal exposed their blindness. It forced them to admit something they hate admitting. They didn't know you. They only knew the version of you that made them comfortable. They only accepted the version of you that didn't challenge their ego, their ranking system, their shallow labels. That's why the moment you stepped into full clarity, their minds shattered, because your growth didn't fit the box they built for you. Now listen, this is where the prophetic weight enters. Your life has been following heaven's calendar, not man's commentary. And the reason this reveal landed like a thunderclap is because it was synchronized, not just with the internet, with the spirit realm. There are moments God allows you to stay hidden, and then there are moments He calls you forward suddenly, sharply, undeniably. One day you're overlooked, and the next day you're unavoidable. That shift isn't random. That shift is Kairos. Chosen one, you are not watching this to feel hyped. You are here because your scroll is being unsealed. And this is what I need you to understand. The reveal they saw on the outside is mirroring the reveal God is doing inside of you. The same way they're suddenly rereading your old posts with new eyes, heaven is reframing your past with new meaning. Because the truth is, you were never wasting time. You were collecting data. You were learning patterns. You were watching how people move when they think you're powerless. You were seeing who only loves you when you stay small. You were discovering who can't celebrate you without secretly competing with you. And if that sounds intense, it's because it is. This is not a casual season for you. Chosen one. Some of your quiet seasons weren't depression. They were preparation. Some of your isolation wasn't rejection, it was protection. Some of your delays weren't punishment. They were precision. You didn't disappear because you had nothing to offer. You withdrew because heaven was restructuring you. And if I could put words to what this feels like in everyday life, it's like this. You know, those nights where you're lying in bed and the world is asleep and you're staring at the ceiling, not because you're lost, but because something in you is building. You're not thinking too much. You're carrying something. You're mapping. You're praying without saying words. You're silently deciding, I will not return to who I used to be. Chosen one that's not overthinking. That's the architecture of destiny. And now your reveal has triggered an aftershock. People are talking, watching, analyzing, switching up. But don't miss what's actually happening. The power dynamics are shifting because your presence is shifting. Your name lands differently now because your spirit is standing differently now. You're not chasing attention. You're stepping into alignment. And alignment is terrifying to people who survive on confusion. Here's a hard truth. Chosen one. Some people were only comfortable with you when they could predict you, when they could explain you, when they could label you as that person who always, but you've entered a dimension where you can't be summarized anymore. That's why they're scrambling. Their old definitions don't work on you, because you're not who they assumed. You're who heaven authored. Now let's talk about the two realities you've been living, because this is key. You have been one thing to family, another thing to co-workers, another thing online, yet none of it was fake. It was fragment. It was portion. It was what each realm could handle. And that's how God often moves with his chosen. He reveals you in stages, because early exposure attracts unnecessary warfare. That's why they mistook your silence for weakness. But silence isn't weakness when God is in it. Silence is strategy. Silence is a womb. Silence is where the blueprint forms. Chosen one. People who live for applause cannot understand people who live by assignment. They broadcast every thought because they need validation to feel real. But you've been building an inner world so solid that you don't need permission to exist. And this is why your reveal hit like a spiritual event, not just a social one. Because you didn't just post, you activated. You didn't just show a new image. You broke an agreement. You broke a pattern. You broke the version of you they were addicted to. And when someone breaks the version of you they could control, they panic. So yes, watch them scramble. But don't let their scramble distract you from your instruction. Because in this Kairos moment, the question isn't, what are they saying? The question is, what is heaven doing? And I'll tell you what heaven is doing. Chosen one. Heaven is confirming that your hidden season produced fruit. Heaven is announcing that your identity is not up for debate. Heaven is opening doors that only respond to authenticity and timing. And you are stepping into a level of favor where you will not have to explain yourself. Your results will speak. There is a line in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 that says, there is a time for every purpose. And I need you to catch this. You are not late. You were layered. You were covered. You were crafted. And now the covering is lifting. Not so you can perform, so you can fulfill. So take a breath, chosen one, because the next part is where we go deeper into what this reveal actually unlocked in the spirit realm, and why the people who mocked you are about to witness a shift they cannot stop. Chosen one. Let's go deeper, because what's happening now didn't start with the reveal. It started in the hidden season no one applauded. There was a stretch of time in your life when nothing made sense to the people watching you. You weren't loud. You weren't explaining yourself. You weren't constantly updating the world on your progress. And some of them assumed you were stuck. Some assumed you had peaked. Some assumed you were confused, drifting or fading into the background. But heaven knew better. Chosen one that season was not empty. It was sealed. This is where many people misunderstand God's process. They think growth must always be visible. They think favor must always be noisy. They think if heaven is moving, everyone should see it. But scripture and lived experience teach something very different. God often does his most precise work in obscurity, not to punish, but to prepare. In that quiet stretch you were being rewired, your discernment sharpened, your tolerance for nonsense dropped, your appetite for surface-level connections faded. You started noticing patterns you used to ignore, how people only reach out when they need something, how praise disappears the moment you stop performing, how support is conditional when your light threatens their comfort. And here's the truth. Most people don't say out loud that season hurt. Chosen one. Let's not romanticize it. There were nights you questioned yourself, moments you wondered if you were being too much or not enough, days when it felt like you were carrying a vision no one else could see, and that weight can be lonely. But loneliness doesn't always mean abandonment. Sometimes it means refinement. I know this because I've walked through it too. I've had seasons where my phone went quiet, where invitations stopped, where familiar voices grew distant. And at first, it stings. You replay conversations. You wonder what changed. You ask yourself if you did something wrong. Then one day, clarity hits. Nothing went wrong. You outgrew the room. Chosen one. Your hidden season was God removing noise so you could hear instruction. He was teaching you how to stand without leaning on applause, how to move without consensus, how to obey even when affirmation is delayed. That's not punishment, that's training, because the level you're entering now requires backbone. It requires emotional control. It requires patience. It requires the ability to be misunderstood without collapsing. That's why the reveal shook them. They didn't see the years of internal work. They only saw the moment heaven allowed the curtain to lift. And let me say this clearly, heaven did not rush this. The timing was surgical. Chosen one, some doors open too early and destroy what they were meant to elevate. Some exposure comes before the structure is ready and collapses under pressure. That's why God hid you, not because you were unworthy, but because you were valuable. As it's written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision is for an appointed time, not a rushed time, not a convenient time, an appointed time. This is that time. Now let's talk about why people are reacting the way they are. When your identity came into clarity, it confronted theirs. You didn't just reveal who you are, you exposed the shortcuts they took. You exposed the comfort zones they refused to leave. You exposed the fact that while they were reacting, you were building. While they were performing, you were planning. While they were chasing validation, you were developing vision. That contrast is uncomfortable. Chosen one. Some of the anger you're seeing isn't about you at all. It's about regret. It's about comparison. It's about the silent realization that time passed and they stayed the same. That's why some are scrambling to rewrite history now. I always knew. I saw this coming. We go way back. Let them talk. People often try to attach themselves to what they didn't have the courage to become. But here's your instruction: don't over-explain. Silence is still part of your assignment. Not because you're hiding, but because you're guarding. You don't owe everyone access just because they're curious now. Curiosity is not covenant. Attention is not alignment. And proximity does not equal permission. Chosen one, you are entering a season where discernment matters more than popularity. Not everyone celebrating you is for you. Not everyone praising you understands you. And not everyone asking questions deserves answers. This is where wisdom must lead emotion. I want you to notice something practical in your everyday life right now. Watch how people treat you differently. Watch how conversations shift. Watch how your words carry more weight sometimes, even when you say less. That's not ego. That's authority settling. Authority doesn't announce itself. It's felt. And when authority arrives, it rearranges rooms, it changes energy, it exposes intentions. That's why some people feel awkward around you now. You didn't do anything wrong, you just stopped shrinking. Chosen one. There's another layer to this reveal that most people miss. This moment is not just about your past identity being reinterpreted. It's about your future trajectory being unlocked. Your obedience in the hidden season created momentum you couldn't see at the time. Every boundary you held, every door you didn't force, every season you endured without becoming bitter, it all compounded. Now you're moving with a different gravity. Opportunities will come faster. Invitations will increase. Doors will open that once ignored you. And here's where maturity matters. Not every open door is meant to be entered. Some doors are tests. Some opportunities are distractions dressed as rewards. Chosen one, you must stay anchored to why you were hidden in the first place. Not to isolate, but to stay aligned. Not to disappear, but to move with precision. Because what heaven is doing now is not random acceleration, it's release. And release requires stewardship. In the next part, we're going to talk about what happens after the shock fades, how to navigate the aftermath without losing yourself, how to recognize who is safe in this new season, and why restraint will be your greatest weapon going forward. Stay with me, chosen one. The reveal was only the signal. The real movement has just begun. Chosen one, now that the initial shock has passed, something far more important is happening beneath the surface. The noise will not last forever. The speculation will cool. The frantic conversations will slow down. And when they do, a sorting will begin quietly, unmistakably, and without your permission being asked. This is the phase most people are unprepared for, because the reveal was loud, but the aftermath is discerning. Chosen one, watch carefully in this season, not with suspicion, but with wisdom. The people who truly belong in your next chapter will not rush you, pressure you, or demand explanations. They won't need to interrogate your growth to feel secure. They won't suddenly rewrite their behavior just to stay relevant to your life. Consistency will be the sign. You see, when your identity becomes clear, everyone around you is forced to choose how they relate to that clarity. Some will lean in with honor. Some will lean in with hunger. Some will lean away because your presence reminds them of the work they refuse to do. This is not cruelty. This is consequence. Chosen one, I want you to hear this gently but firmly. You are not meant to carry everyone forward with you. Even Jesus let some walk away when the teaching became too real. Not everyone who starts the journey with you is assigned to finish it with you. And that doesn't make you cold, it makes you obedient. In the days ahead, you'll notice subtle shifts. People who once dominated conversations will suddenly listen. People who dismissed your ideas will now ask for your opinion. People who overlooked you will attempt to re-enter your orbit with familiarity that feels off. Pay attention to how it feels in your body. Discernment often speaks before logic catches up. Chosen one. This is where many stumble. They mistake attention for alignment. They mistake access for approval. They mistake flattery for favor. But heaven is calling you to a higher standard now. You didn't endure the hidden season just to lose discernment in the visible one. You didn't survive obscurity just to be intoxicated by recognition. This is where restraint becomes power. I know this part is uncomfortable. There's a temptation to finally explain yourself, to finally be understood, to finally say, see, I wasn't crazy, I wasn't lazy, I wasn't lost. But hear me, your life does not need a defense attorney. Your fruit speaks. Chosen one. The strongest move you can make right now is not to overreact to the attention, not to rush to respond to every message, not to clarify every misunderstanding, not to open every door that suddenly appears. Stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is command. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when doors started opening for me faster than I could process. Old connections resurfaced. New opportunities arrived with urgency. And I thought, this must be God. Everything is finally moving. But not everything that moves fast is sent. Some things move fast to distract you from what requires depth. Chosen one. Heaven moves with precision, not panic. If you feel rushed, pressured, or anxious to capitalize on the moment, pause. God's favor does not expire. What is truly yours will not require you to betray your discernment to obtain it. Now let's talk about the internal shift, because while the world is reacting outwardly, something deeper is happening inside you. You may feel a strange combination of confidence and vulnerability. On one hand, you feel grounded, clear, unshakable. On the other, you feel exposed in ways you didn't expect. This is normal. Visibility tests identity. Hidden seasons build roots. Revealed seasons test branches. This is where God is anchoring you in who you are becoming, not who people project onto you now. Because once people see power, they will try to name it, frame it, and sometimes use it. But your assignment is not up for negotiation. Chosen one, don't let external curiosity rewrite internal clarity. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to be effective. And effectiveness requires boundaries. There is a sacred law at work here, the law of access. Not everyone deserves access to every layer of who you are. That's not secrecy, that's stewardship. Even heaven operates in layers. The inner court is not for the crowd. So if you feel yourself pulling back slightly, not out of fear, but out of discernment, honor that. That's wisdom maturing. That's leadership forming. Another thing you may notice, old temptations may resurface. Not always obvious ones, sometimes subtle. The temptation to prove yourself. The temptation to dominate conversations. The temptation to flex what you know now. This is not sin knocking. This is ego testing the new territory. Chosen one, stay clean in your spirit. Power paired with humility is unstoppable. Power paired with pride collapses under its own weight. Remember why you were hidden. Remember how you prayed when no one was watching. Remember the tears, the nights, the quiet faith. That version of you is still the foundation. Do not abandon them now that the spotlight has arrived. This is not the season to become loud. This is the season to become precise, because something else is happening, and this is important. Your reveal did not just change how others see you. It changed how the spiritual atmosphere responds to you. Resistance may increase. Projection may increase. Misinterpretation may increase. That doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means your signal is stronger. Light attracts attention from all directions. Chosen one. This is where prayer becomes less about asking and more about alignment. Less about pleading and more about listening. God will give you insight into who is safe, what is timely, and what must wait. As Isaiah chapter 60 says, when the time is right, the Lord makes it happen swiftly. But swift does not mean sloppy. Swift does not mean careless. Swift does not mean unguarded. This season requires sobriety of spirit, so take inventory. Who celebrates you without needing something, who stays consistent when the hype fades, who honors your boundaries without resenting them. These are markers. Everyone else release them with peace. You are not rejecting people, you are selecting alignment. And here is the truth that will steady you. You are not missing out. What is meant for you is converging. What is not will fall away naturally. In the next part, we will go even deeper into the spiritual authority that has been activated by this reveal, why some people feel threatened by your clarity, and how to walk forward without shrinking or hardening your heart. Stay present, chosen one. The sorting is not loss, it is preparation. Chosen one, there is a reason the atmosphere feels different now, and it has nothing to do with popularity. Authority has been activated, not the loud kind, not the performative kind, the kind that settles into your bones the moment you stop asking to be understood, the kind that shows up when you no longer chase agreement, approval, or applause. This is where many misunderstand what power really is. Power is not how many people clap when you enter a room. Power is how the room rearranges itself when you stay silent. Chosen one. The moment you stopped explaining your journey, defending your growth, or softening your truth to keep others comfortable, something shifted in the spirit. You stepped out of negotiation mode and into alignment mode, and alignment carries authority. This is why some people feel unsettled around you now, not because you're arrogant, not because you're cold, but because your presence no longer seeks permission. You are no longer asking the room who you are. You are arriving knowing. That knowing is threatening to people who still define themselves by reaction. Chosen one. Let me say this carefully, authority does not need to announce itself. It reveals itself through restraint, through timing, through the refusal to be pulled into unnecessary explanations. You are witnessing this in real time. Conversations that once drained you now feel optional. Opinions that once rattled you now feel distant. Criticism that once pierced you now slides off without sticking. This isn't numbness, this is grounding. You're not detached from emotion, you're anchored in identity. And that's why some people are suddenly uncomfortable. They can't read you the way they used to. They can't predict your responses. They can't bait you into old patterns. The buttons they installed no longer work. That's not rebellion, that's maturity. Chosen one spiritual authority often arrives quietly, but it carries weight. It changes how people approach you. Some will suddenly respect you more, others will resist you more. Both reactions confirm the same thing: you've crossed a threshold. And thresholds always expose intentions. You may notice people testing you now. Subtle comments, passive remarks, questions disguised as concern. They're not always malicious, but they are revealing. People test authority to see if it's real. This is where many people overreact. They defend, they explain, they correct. They try to set the record straight. But hear me. Authority does not argue. Authority observes. Authority responds only when necessary. Authority knows when silence is louder than speech. Chosen one. This is not the season to prove your growth. It is the season to embody it. Proof is for doubters. Embodiment is for leaders. And here's the internal work that comes with this shift, because authority on the outside must be matched by order on the inside. You may feel moments where old insecurities try to resurface. Thoughts like, am I doing too much? Or what if they misunderstand me? Or what if this is temporary? These thoughts are not prophecy. They are echoes. Echoes from a season where you survived by blending in. But you are not surviving anymore. You are stewarding. Chosen one authority requires self-trust, not arrogance, not certainty about every step, but trust in your ability to listen, adjust, and remain aligned. This is why God allowed you to be misunderstood for so long, because leaders who crumble under misunderstanding cannot carry authority without abusing it or losing themselves. You were trained in obscurity to lead in visibility. And now that visibility has arrived, heaven is watching how you handle it, not to trap you, but to entrust you. Let's ground this in real life for a moment. You may notice that when you speak now, people listen differently. Sometimes they nod, sometimes they go quiet, sometimes they challenge you more aggressively. This is not coincidence. Your words now carry consequence, so choose them wisely. Not every truth needs to be spoken immediately. Not every insight needs to be shared publicly. Not every observation needs commentary. Discernment is now part of your authority. Chosen one. Some doors will open simply because of who you are becoming. Others will require you to say no, even when they look attractive. This is where authority is tested. Will you choose alignment over acceleration? Will you choose peace over proving? Will you choose obedience over optics? Because here's the truth. Authority grows when you say no to what is good in order to say yes to what is God. This is not about being rigid, it's about being rooted. And the deeper you root, the less you are shaken by surface-level storms. You might also feel a subtle grief rising at times. A grief for who you used to be. A grief for relationships that no longer fit. A grief for the simplicity of being unseen. Honor that grief. It does not mean you want to go backward. It means you are human. Transitions always carry loss, even when they carry promotion. Chosen one, do not numb yourself to move faster. Do not rush your heart to catch up with your calling. God is patient with your process. You are allowed to feel while you lead. But don't let emotion override instruction. This is the balance of authority, tenderness without weakness, strength without hardness. As Isaiah chapter 60 declares, nations come to the light, not the noise, not the effort, not the striving. Light attracts because it is stable, so stay lit, not loud. Let your consistency speak. Let your boundaries teach. Let your peace unsettle what chaos built. And remember, this authority does not isolate you. It refines your circle. It doesn't make you superior, it makes you responsible. Responsible for how you move, how you speak, how you steward what has been entrusted to you. In the next part, we will talk about the resistance that often follows authority, why opposition may rise after clarity, how to discern spiritual resistance from human insecurity, and how to stay clean-hearted while walking in power. Do not rush ahead, chosen one. Authority is not something you wield, it is something you carry, and how you carry it will determine what heaven entrusts you with next. Chosen one. This is where many become confused because resistance often shows up right after authority settles. You expect peace to increase, and in many ways it does. But you may also notice friction rising around you, subtle opposition, misunderstandings that seem unnecessary, people projecting motives onto you that don't belong to you. Let me say this clearly. Resistance does not mean you missed God. Often it means you followed Him. There is a difference between human discomfort and spiritual resistance, and discernment is required to tell them apart. Human discomfort is emotional. It comes from insecurity, comparison, or fear of change. Spiritual resistance is strategic. It attempts to delay, distract, or dilute what heaven is advancing. Chosen one, you are encountering both. Some people resist you because your clarity highlights their confusion. Some resist you because your boundaries expose their entitlement. And some resistance has nothing to do with people at all. It's pressure against your focus, your peace, your consistency. This is not punishment. This is confirmation. Every time God elevates someone into a new level of influence, resistance tests whether that authority is rooted in ego or obedience. If it's ego, resistance provokes reaction. If it's obedience, resistance sharpens discernment. This is why your response matters more than the resistance itself. Chosen one. The temptation in this phase is to either harden your heart or shrink your presence. Both are traps. Hardening disconnects you from compassion. Shrinking disconnects you from assignment. Your calling requires neither. What it requires is clarity without cruelty, strength without superiority, boundaries without bitterness. That balance is not automatic, it is learned. I want you to notice how resistance tries to speak to you internally. It may sound like urgency. You need to fix this now. Or like self-doubt. Maybe you were wrong. Or like over-spiritualizing. If there's opposition, maybe I should stop. But hear this. Not every closed door is a warning, and not every open door is an invitation. Resistance must be interpreted, not feared. Jesus faced resistance at every level, religious, political, social, and yet he did not recalibrate his mission every time someone misunderstood him. He recalibrated only when the Father instructed him to. That is your model. Chosen one, you must learn to pause before reacting, not out of passivity, but out of alignment. Ask yourself, is this resistance calling me to adjust my posture, or is it calling me to abandon my position? God corrects through peace, not panic. If something is truly misaligned, you will sense conviction, not confusion. Conviction brings clarity. Confusion brings noise. This is why your inner life matters so much right now. If your spirit is grounded, resistance will not knock you off course. If your identity is anchored, criticism will not define you. If your prayer life is intact, pressure will not derail you. And let's talk honestly, because this is where lived experience matters. There will be moments when resistance comes through people you didn't expect. Old allies who grow distant. Familiar voices that suddenly question your direction. This hurts not because you need their approval, but because history carries weight. Grieve that, but don't interpret it as failure. Sometimes people are only equipped to walk with you through certain seasons. When the terrain changes, their footing becomes unstable, not because they're bad, but because the path has shifted. Chosen one. You are not obligated to slow your obedience to accommodate someone else's comfort, but you are called to move without contempt. This is the line you must walk. Another form of resistance you may encounter is internal fatigue. Not burnout, but the tiredness that comes from carrying responsibility with integrity. When you realize that what you say matters now, that how you move is observed, that your silence is interpreted, this weight is real. Leadership is lonely not because you're alone, but because discernment limits how much you can share. That's why God invites you to rest, not retreat. Rest is not disengagement. Rest is recalibration. Chosen one, guard your rest fiercely in this season, not just physical rest, but mental and emotional rest. Stop rehearsing conversations that haven't happened. Stop carrying outcomes that aren't yours to control. Stop trying to manage perceptions. That's not your assignment. Your assignment is obedience. And obedience often looks boring to people addicted to drama. Now here's something crucial. Resistance will try to bait you into proving your authority instead of trusting it. You may feel the urge to set things straight, to confront every misunderstanding, to explain your intentions clearly so no one misreads you. But authority does not chase clarity. Authority allows clarity to emerge over time. You do not need to win every narrative. You need to steward your integrity. Chosen one, your consistency will outlast their commentary, and this is where the spiritual lens becomes essential. The enemy does not always attack through chaos. Sometimes he attacks through distraction, through opportunities that look aligned but pull you off center, through conversations that drain your energy without advancing your calling. This is why Jesus often withdrew, not because he was weak, but because he was discerning. He knew when to engage and when to walk away. Learn that rhythm. Every invitation is not an assignment. Every request is not a responsibility. Every platform is not your stage. Chosen one, God is teaching you selectivity. Selectivity is not elitism, it is stewardship. And here is the promise that steadies you: resistance does not have the final word. It is temporary. Authority, when rooted in obedience, is cumulative. The pressure you feel now is forging capacity. Capacity to carry influence without losing humility. Capacity to hold vision without becoming rigid. Capacity to lead without becoming isolated. This season is stretching you, but not to break you. It is stretching you to hold what is coming next. In the next part, we will talk about expansion, how new opportunities, visibility, and influence begin to multiply after resistance, and how to expand without fracturing your foundation. Stay steady, chosen one. Resistance is not a signal to retreat. It is a signal to deepen your roots. Chosen one. This is the part few people warn you about, because expansion feels like blessing, but it carries weight. After resistance comes reach. After pressure comes possibility. After the sorting comes acceleration. You may already feel it. Conversations multiplying, opportunities stacking, invitations appearing from directions you didn't pursue, visibility increasing without you chasing it. This is not coincidence. This is momentum released from obedience. But hear me clearly, expansion without governance becomes chaos. God does not expand you to overwhelm you. He expands you to entrust you. This is where many gifted people fracture. They confuse access with assignment. They confuse momentum with mandate. They say yes to everything because it feels like finally seen, finally valued, finally moving. But chosen one finally does not mean freely. Every expansion requires structure. Think about this in everyday terms. If a house suddenly doubles in size overnight, but the foundation stays the same, the structure becomes unstable. Cracks appear, stress points form. What looked like blessing becomes burden. God will not do that to you. So if you feel expansion pressing in, heaven is also inviting you to upgrade your internal systems. Your boundaries must mature. Your schedule must become intentional. Your yes must become expensive. Because influence is not just about being seen, it's about being sustainable. Chosen one expansion tests something very specific: self-leadership. Can you lead yourself when no one is micromanaging you? Can you pace yourself when opportunities tempt you to sprint? Can you remain present when demand pulls you outward? This is where discipline becomes spiritual, not rigid discipline but rhythmic discipline. You are learning how to move with God's pace, not the world's pressure. And let me ground this in reality. Expansion often comes with emotional whiplash. One moment you feel grateful, the next you feel stretched. One moment you feel confident, the next you feel exposed. This doesn't mean you're unstable, it means you're growing. Growth stretches muscles that have never been used at this level. Chosen one, don't interpret discomfort as disqualification. Expansion will also reveal your priorities. You will have to decide what matters most, not what is loudest, not what is flattering, not what strokes the ego, but what aligns with your long-term assignment. This is where clarity becomes priceless. Ask yourself regularly, does this opportunity deepen my purpose or just widen my reach? Does this connection sharpen my vision or scatter my focus? Does this demand honor my values or pressure me to compromise? These questions are not meant to paralyze you. They are meant to anchor you, because expansion will invite compromise disguised as convenience, shortcuts dressed as strategy, exposure offered without depth. Chosen one, resist the urge to rush. God is not impressed by speed. He is committed to fruit. There is a reason Jesus did not heal every person in Israel during his ministry. Not because he lacked compassion, but because he moved according to assignment, not demand. You must do the same. This season will require you to disappoint some people, not out of arrogance, but out of obedience. You cannot be everywhere. You cannot serve everyone. You cannot carry every expectation placed on you. And that's okay. You are finite. God is not. Expansion also brings comparison, both external and internal. Externally, people may start measuring you against others in your space. You remind me of you're like a mix of you should collaborate with. Internally, you may begin comparing yourself to who you think you should be by now. Stop. Comparison dilutes calling. You are not here to replicate someone else's path. You are here to fulfill your own. Chosen one, remember this: expansion does not erase process. It reveals it. The more visible you become, the more important it is to remain teachable, not insecure, but open. Open to correction, open to refinement, open to growth. Authority does not mean arrival, it means responsibility, and responsibility requires humility. Humility is not self-deprecation, it is accurate self-assessment. Knowing what you carry and knowing what you still need God for. Now let's talk about pace, because this is critical. Expansion often tempts you to accelerate faster than your soul can integrate, but your soul needs time to catch up with your calling. If you outrun your soul, burnout follows. This is why rest is non-negotiable. Not rest as escape, but rest as integration. Integration is where your experiences become wisdom instead of trauma, where your lessons become tools instead of wounds, where your growth becomes embodied instead of performative. Chosen one, protect your integration time. Protect moments where you reflect, journal, pray, or simply sit without producing. These moments are not unproductive. They are preventative. They keep you whole. Expansion also tests your identity. You may start to hear people describe you in ways that don't fully match how you see yourself yet. Leader, authority, voice, influence. This can feel surreal. Don't let labels rush your identity. You are allowed to grow into what God is calling you at your pace. You don't need to perform maturity. You need to practice faithfulness. And faithfulness looks ordinary most days. Showing up, staying aligned, saying no when needed, saying yes when led, adjusting without quitting. Chosen. One expansion is not the destination, it is the next classroom. And like every classroom, it will stretch you, challenge you, and sharpen you. But it will not consume you if you stay rooted. In the next part, we will talk about identity protection, how to guard who you are becoming while the world tries to define you, brand you, or reduce you to one dimension. Stay grounded, chosen one. Expansion is happening. Now it must be governed. Chosen one, this is where the pressure subtly shifts. Up to now, the challenge has been visibility, resistance, and expansion. But right here, the battle moves inward. Not against your calling, but against your definition. Because once expansion begins, the world will try to name you. They will brand you, simplify you, reduce you to a single trait, a single moment, a single version that feels easier to understand. Not always with malice, often with admiration. But admiration can still distort if you let it. Chosen one. Hear this clearly, you are not a brand before you are a being. And if you let the world define you faster than you define yourself, you will wake up one day successful and disconnected from your own soul. This is why identity protection is sacred. People will say things like, this is your lane, or this is what you should focus on, or this is what people love you for. And some of it will sound wise. Some of it will even sound affirming, but not every compliment is a compass. God did not call you to be easily categorized. He called you to be obedient, chosen one. Your identity is layered by design. That's why the reveal felt complex. That's why people struggled to figure you out. You are not meant to be one-dimensional. You carry more than one gift, more than one expression, more than one assignment across seasons. And seasons matter. What God emphasized in you yesterday may not be what He emphasizes tomorrow. If you freeze yourself in one version just to stay palatable, you will betray your becoming. This is where discernment must guard identity. Ask yourself often, am I responding to calling or reacting to expectation? Am I choosing this because it's aligned or because it's applauded? Am I evolving or am I being preserved in a box others built? These questions are not accusations, they are anchors. Chosen. One, identity protection also means guarding against internal distortion. When people begin to project onto you, you may start seeing yourself through their lens, either inflated or diminished. Both are dangerous. Inflation leads to arrogance. Diminishment leads to self-erasure. Neither reflects truth. Truth is steady. Truth is quiet. Truth doesn't need to prove itself. This is why time alone with God becomes even more important now. Not to hear new instructions every day, but to remember who you are when no one is watching. Because visibility has a way of pulling you outward into feedback, opinions, reactions. Solitude pulls you inward into alignment. Chosen one. Solitude is not isolation, it is calibration. Jesus often withdrew after moments of impact, not before. He healed crowds, then retreated. He taught multitudes, then prayed alone. Why? Because impact without recalibration leads to identity drift. You must do the same. Now let's talk about the subtle danger of becoming useful at the cost of being whole. When people recognize your gifts, they will want access. Access to your insight, your energy, your clarity, your presence. Some requests will be honorable, others will be transactional. This is where identity can slowly erode when you start seeing yourself primarily as what you provide instead of who you are. Chosen one. Your value does not come from output. Your assignment flows from being, not doing. If you begin to measure your worth by usefulness, you will overextend. And overextension always extracts a price later. So practice saying no without explanation. Practice pausing before committing. Practice checking in with your body because your body often knows before your mind does when something is misaligned. Tension is information. Peace is confirmation. Another threat to identity is nostalgia. People wanting you to stay who you were when they felt comfortable with you. They may say, "You've changed," or "I miss the old you," or "You used to be more." Sometimes they're grieving familiarity. Sometimes they're resisting growth. Either way, you are not required to regress to be loved. Chosen. One, growth always feels like loss to those who benefit from your smaller version. Do not confuse loyalty with stagnation. You can honor the past without living there. You can love people without remaining who you were for them. Now let's address something very real: identity fatigue. When you're holding many roles, leader, visionary, mentor, creative friend, it's easy to feel fragmented. You may wonder, which version of me is real? The answer is all of them in context. Identity is not singular, it is integrated. You are not fake because you express different facets in different spaces. You are wise, you are adaptive, you are human. What matters is internal coherence, that all expressions flow from the same core values, the same truth, the same alignment. That's integrity. Integrity is not sameness everywhere. Integrity is consistency within. Chosen one. The more you protect your identity, the more free you become. Free from comparison, free from pressure, free from performance. And freedom is magnetic. This is why some people will resist your freedom. It reminds them of the cages they've accepted. But do not dim your light to soothe their discomfort. Your clarity is not cruelty. Your boundaries are not rejection. Your growth is not betrayal. It is obedience. As Ecclesiastes chapter 3 reminds us, there is a time for everything, including the time to let old definitions die so new ones can live. You are not here to be static. You are here to be faithful. In the next part, we will talk about stewardship of influence, how to lead without losing humility, how to speak without dominating, and how to carry weight without becoming heavy. Stay anchored, chosen one. Your identity is not for sale. Protect it because it is the vessel through which everything else flows. Chosen one, influence has weight, and weight must be carried with wisdom. By now you've felt it. When you speak, people listen. When you move, others adjust. When you pause, the room waits. This is not because you demanded attention. It's because alignment amplifies presence, and presence, when anchored in truth, becomes influence. But hear this carefully: influence is a tool, not a trophy. If you treat it like a reward, it will hollow you out. If you steward it like a responsibility, it will deepen you. This is where humility matters, not the performative kind that downplays your impact, but the grounded kind that remembers where your authority came from. You didn't earn this by charm. You didn't hustle your way here. You were shaped, refined, and positioned often through discomfort. Never forget that. Chosen one humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking accurately about your role. You are a conduit, not the source. A steward, not the owner. A voice, not the message. This perspective protects you, because influence tempts you to believe your perspective is always needed, your opinion always timely, your presence always required. That's how burnout begins, when responsibility mutates into indispensability. You are valuable, yes, but you are not the center. God is. So steward your influence by knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. Knowing when to lead from the front and when to empower others to step forward. Knowing when to correct and when to cover. This discernment separates leaders who last from leaders who flame out. Chosen one. Let's talk about voice. Your voice carries weight now. That means your words can heal or wound, build or fracture, clarify or confuse. This doesn't mean you must walk on eggshells. It means you must speak with intention. Ask yourself before you speak publicly, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this aligned with who I am becoming? Not everything true needs to be spoken immediately. Timing is part of truth. And sometimes the most influential thing you can do is wait. Silence, when chosen intentionally, is not absence. It is signal. Now let's talk about posture. Influence changes posture, not just physically but relationally. People may defer to you more. They may seek your approval. They may mirror your language or adopt your rhythms. This can feel flattering. It can also feel uncomfortable. Here's your anchor: never confuse influence with superiority. If people feel small around you, something is off. True authority enlarges others. It creates space. It invites growth. It does not dominate rooms, it stabilizes them. So check your posture regularly. Are you listening as much as you speak? Are you curious or only convincing? Are you present or merely performing? Chosen. One, stewardship also means protecting your private life. The more visible you become, the more important it is to keep something sacred and unseen. Not everything should be shared. Not every process should be documented. Not every struggle should be public. Privacy is not secrecy, it is preservation. Jesus healed in public but prayed in private. He taught openly but grieved quietly. He revealed truth without revealing every detail of his inner life. Follow that model. Your private devotion fuels your public authority. If the private dries up, the public becomes hollow. Another aspect of stewardship is correction, how you handle being wrong. Influence does not mean infallibility. You will make mistakes. You will misjudge moments. You will say things you later wish you had phrased differently. What matters is how you respond. Defensiveness erodes trust. Ownership restores it. When you model humility in correction, you teach others how to be human without losing dignity. That is influence at its best. Chosen one, do not be afraid to say, "I missed it," or "I'm learning," or "let me adjust." These words do not weaken authority, they strengthen it. Because people don't trust perfection, they trust integrity. Now let's talk about expansion of reach versus expansion of depth. Influence often pressures you to scale outward, more platforms, more collaborations, more output. But depth must scale alongside reach, or the structure collapses. Depth is built through consistency, reflection, and presence. Make time for the slow work. The conversations that don't trend, the relationships that don't amplify you, the practices that don't impress anyone but God. This is how influence remains clean. Chosen one. There will be moments when you're tempted to use your influence to protect your image rather than your integrity, to smooth over discomfort rather than confront truth, to maintain access rather than uphold values. This is where stewardship becomes costly. Choose integrity anyway. Short-term discomfort is cheaper than long-term compromise. And here's the promise that steadies you. Influence stewarded well multiplies without corrupting. It attracts the right people. It repels the wrong assignments. It creates legacy instead of noise. As Isaiah chapter 60 reminds us, when the time is right, the Lord makes it happen swiftly. Swiftly, but with order. Order is heaven's signature. So keep your heart soft, your boundaries clear, your posture humble, your voice intentional, your private life sacred. In the next part, we'll address legacy, what it means to build something that outlasts a moment, how to plant seeds you may never see bloom, and why patience remains essential even now. Stay steady. Chosen one. Influence is growing. Steward it well. Chosen one. Now we arrive at a quieter but heavier truth. Moments fade, platforms shift, attention moves on, legacy remains. What God is inviting you into now is not just influence for today, but impact that stretches beyond what you can immediately see. This is where many lose patience, because legacy work rarely feels urgent, flashy, or rewarding in the short term. Yet, it is the work heaven values most. Legacy is built when you choose faithfulness over visibility. Chosen one, understand this: the world celebrates moments, but heaven measures trajectories. A moment can make you known. A trajectory makes you trustworthy. And trust is what God builds through time. You may feel an internal tension right now, a desire to act boldly and a pull to move carefully. That tension is not confusion, it's wisdom forming. It's the awareness that what you're building now will shape not just your future, but others' futures as well. Legacy thinking changes how you move. You stop asking, will this get attention? You start asking, will this still matter when attention fades? You stop asking, how does this make me look? You start asking, what does this produce in the long run? This shift is subtle, but it marks maturity. Chosen. One legacy is often invisible at first. It looks like consistency when no one is watching, like integrity when compromise would be easier, like patience when speed would bring faster results. And patience in this season is not waiting passively, it is actively choosing depth over immediacy. Let's ground this in reality. There will be opportunities presented to you that feel like shortcuts, ways to grow faster, reach more people sooner, or solidify your position quickly. Some of these may not be wrong, but they may be premature. Legacy-minded people ask, not only is this allowed, but is this aligned with timing, because timing protects fruit. As it's written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision waits for the appointed time. That doesn't mean nothing happens in the waiting. It means the foundation is being strengthened so the structure can stand. Chosen one. God is far more concerned with who you become while building than what you build itself. This is why legacy often requires restraint. Restraint in speech, restraint in expansion, restraint in reaction. Not because you lack power, but because you respect it. Another mark of legacy is the willingness to plant seeds you may never personally harvest. This is difficult for a generation conditioned for instant feedback. But legacy work trusts that obedience has ripple effects beyond visibility. Some of what you're doing now will benefit people you may never meet. Some of the standards you set will protect others long after you've moved on to new assignments. This is sacred work. Chosen one, don't underestimate the power of modeling integrity. People learn more from how you live than from what you say. Your consistency teaches others what alignment looks like in practice, and consistency is not perfection. It's reliability. It's showing up with the same values on visible days and invisible ones. It's honoring your word. It's adjusting when necessary without abandoning your core. Legacy is built when people can trust your character, even when they don't fully understand your choices. Now let's talk about legacy and ego, because this is where many stumble. Legacy is not about being remembered. It's about being responsible. If your goal is remembrance, you will perform. If your goal is responsibility, you will steward. Stewardship is quieter than ambition, but it lasts longer. Chosen one, check your motivations gently, not to condemn yourself, but to keep your heart clean. Ask, am I building to prove something or to serve something? Proof exhausts, service sustains. And service does not mean self-erasure. It means alignment with something greater than personal validation. Another aspect of legacy is succession. True leaders are not threatened by others rising. They prepare others. They share wisdom. They leave room. You don't have to mentor everyone. You don't have to teach everything. But you must remain open-handed with what God entrusts to you. What you hoard will rot. What you steward will multiply. This doesn't mean giving indiscriminately. It means discerning where to invest. Some people are consumers. Some are carriers. Legacy discernment recognizes the difference. Chosen one. As you build, there will be moments when progress feels slow, when the visible impact doesn't match the effort, when you wonder if what you're doing matters. This is where faith anchors you. Faith is not believing something dramatic will happen tomorrow. Faith is trusting that obedience today is not wasted, even when the return is delayed. Delayed does not mean denied, and often delayed means protected. You are not behind. You are being established. Legacy also requires courage, the courage to remain aligned when it would be easier to blend in. The courage to say no when yes would bring applause. The courage to let misunderstandings stand rather than distort yourself for clarity's sake. This courage is quiet. It doesn't look heroic, but it shapes outcomes for decades. Chosen one. The fruit of legacy is not always immediate peace. Sometimes it's the weight of knowing your decisions matter, the weight of responsibility, the weight of stewardship. But that weight is shared. You are not carrying this alone. God walks with those he entrusts, and when the load feels heavy, that's often an invitation to slow down, not to quit. In the next part, We will talk about endurance, how to sustain your spirit over the long haul, how to recognize fatigue before burnout, and how to remain faithful without becoming rigid. Stay steady. Chosen one, you are not just moving forward, you are building something that will last. Chosen one, endurance is the quiet discipline that determines whether legacy survives pressure. You've come far. You've grown, expanded, stewarded, and built. But now heaven is teaching you something deeper, not how to rise, but how to remain. Not how to initiate, but how to sustain. Because beginnings require courage. Endurance requires character. This is where many gifted people stumble. They confuse endurance with intensity. They push harder, tighten control, and grip their vision with fear instead of faith. Over time, passion turns into pressure and clarity turns into rigidity. But God did not call you to become stiff. He called you to become rooted. Roots hold without hardening. Chosen one. Endurance is not about never getting tired. It's about knowing how to respond when you do. Fatigue is not failure, it is information. It tells you something in your rhythm needs adjustment. Pay attention to early signals, irritability where patience once lived, cynicism where hope once flowed, isolation where discernment once guided. These are not sins, they are warning lights. Endurance listens before burnout forces silence. This is why Sabbath rest in all its forms matters so much now. Not religious rest, rest that restores perspective, rest that reminds you who you are apart from output. You are not your productivity, you are not your consistency, you are not your influence, you are a son, a daughter, a vessel. When endurance forgets that it turns into striving. Chosen one endurance also requires flexibility. God may ask you to adjust methods while preserving mission. If you cling to one expression of obedience too tightly, you may miss the next instruction. Faithfulness does not mean repetition. It means responsiveness. There will be seasons where God says, do less, not because you're disqualified, but because depth is being prioritized over expansion. Other seasons he may say, shift lanes, not because the old lane was wrong, but because the assignment matured. Rigid obedience resists adjustment. Living obedience embraces it. This is why relationship with God must stay relational, not transactional. If obedience becomes mechanical, endurance becomes heavy. Chosen one, talk to God honestly in this season. Not just about direction, but about energy, about joy, about fear, about pressure. God is not threatened by your honesty. He invites it. David endured because he poured everything out: anger, doubt, praise, confusion. Saul collapsed because he hid and hardened. Choose openness over performance. Another key to endurance is community-wise grounded, non-performative community. Not crowds, not admirers, but a few people who can see you without the role, without the projection. Endurance cannot be carried alone. Even Moses needed Aaron and Hur to hold his arms. Even Elijah needed rest and reassurance. Even Jesus invited a few to watch and pray. Needing support does not weaken authority. It protects it. Chosen one. If you've been feeling the temptation to withdraw completely, not to rest, but to disappear, that's a signal to reconnect, not retreat. Isolation masquerades as strength, but it slowly erodes perspective. Reach out to those who can remind you of truth without demanding performance. Endurance also tests patience in a new way. Earlier patience was about waiting for doors to open. Now patience is about walking through open doors without rushing outcomes. It's about trusting process even when momentum exists. Momentum can be intoxicating, but momentum without discernment creates crashes. Slow down enough to integrate lessons. Celebrate quietly. Reflect often. keep learning. Learning is the antidote to rigidity. When leaders stop learning, they start controlling. Chosen one, stay curious, stay teachable, not insecure, but open. God often speaks through unexpected channels in this phase. A conversation, a moment of stillness, a gentle conviction. Do not dismiss small adjustments. Small corrections now prevent large collapses later. Another endurance trap is nostalgia, longing for earlier seasons because they felt simpler. You may miss the anonymity, the freedom of fewer expectations, the lightness of less responsibility. That doesn't mean you were meant to stay there. Every level carries its own grace and its own cost. Honor past seasons without idolizing them. They prepared you, but they are not your destination. Chosen. One endurance is also emotional stewardship. You cannot carry every story, every burden, every outcome. Compassion without boundaries leads to compassion fatigue. You are called to care, not to absorb. Pray for wisdom to know where to engage deeply and where to release outcomes to God. You are not the savior, you are the steward, and stewards last when they know their limits. Now let's talk about hope, because endurance without hope becomes duty. Hope is not hype. It's quiet confidence that obedience matters even when progress is invisible. Hope is trusting that seeds are growing underground, even when the surface looks unchanged. If hope begins to thin, return to first love. Return to why you said yes initially, not the results, but the calling. Remember the moment God met you when no one else was watching. That memory fuels endurance. As Isaiah chapter 40 reminds us, those who wait upon the Lord renew their strength. They don't grind for it, they receive it. Waiting in this sense is not inactivity, it's alignment. Chosen one endurance is not about white-knuckling faith, it's about staying supple in spirit, rooted but flexible, committed but responsive, faithful but human. In the next part, we will talk about completion, how God brings seasons to a close, how to recognize when a chapter is ending, and how to transition without fear or regret. Stay present, chosen one. Endurance is not your burden, it is your training for what comes next. Chosen one, there is a sacred skill that few master, knowing when a season is ending and releasing it without fear. Beginnings are celebrated, expansion is admired, endurance is respected, but endings are often misunderstood. Yet endings are not failures, they are fulfillments. What you are sensing now, the subtle shift, the quiet restlessness, the feeling that something is completing, is not confusion, it is transition. God does not always announce endings with noise. Often he whispers them through loss of urgency, fading passion, or a gentle internal, "It is enough." This is where wisdom is required. Many people overstay seasons out of loyalty, fear, or identity attachment. They keep pushing what God has already completed, because stopping feels like quitting. But obedience sometimes means knowing when to let go. Chosen one, hear this clearly, finishing is not abandoning. A season can be successful and still be complete. A role can be fruitful and still be finished. A method can be effective and still be outdated. Completion does not dishonor what came before, it honors it. Jesus stayed until his assignment was finished, not until people were comfortable. When the work was complete, he moved on, even when crowds wanted more. That same principle applies to you. One of the signs a season is ending is effort without grace. What once flowed now requires strain. What once energized now drains. Not because you're lazy or distracted, but because the anointing has shifted. Do not panic when this happens. Grace lifting is not punishment, it is direction. Another sign is repetition without revelation. You find yourself saying the same things, solving the same problems, addressing the same patterns without progress. That does not mean the work was meaningless. It means the lesson has been taught. Chosen one. God is economical. He does not waste your obedience by trapping you in cycles. When growth stalls, it is often because movement is required. Now let's talk about the emotional complexity of endings, because this is where many resist. Endings bring grief even when they are right. You may grieve the identity attached to the season, the relationships formed there, the familiarity of knowing what's expected. This grief does not mean you want to go backward. It means you are human. Allow yourself to mourn what was without clinging to it. Honor it. Thank God for it. Release it. Holding on past completion creates heaviness. Releasing creates room. Chosen one. Fear often disguises itself as faithfulness. You may tell yourself, I'm just being loyal, when in truth you are afraid of the unknown. But faithfulness to God sometimes requires disloyalty to comfort. God cannot fill hands that refuse to open. Another marker of season completion is internal reorientation. Your prayers change. Your questions shift. You stop asking for breakthrough and start asking for clarity. You stop asking for provision and start asking for direction. Pay attention to that. Your spirit knows before your mind catches up. Now let's be very clear. Ending a season does not always mean dramatic exits or public announcements. Some transitions are quiet, internal, gradual. You simply stop striving, stop forcing, stop centering your identity there, and that's okay. You do not owe everyone an explanation for obedience. Chosen one completion also requires forgiveness, sometimes toward others, sometimes toward yourself. You may need to forgive people who couldn't follow you into the next season, or forgive yourself for staying longer than necessary. Release regret. God redeems timing, even imperfect timing. There is no version of your obedience that He cannot use. This is why you must not rush endings either. Ending too early out of discomfort creates unfinished business. Ending too late out of fear creates stagnation. Ask God for discernment, not impatience. As Ecclesiastes chapter 3 reminds us, there is a time to plant and a time to uproot. Both are holy, both are necessary. Uprooting is not destruction, it is preparation for replanting. Chosen one. When a season ends, identity often feels momentarily unanchored. You may ask, if I'm not this anymore, who am I now? This is where trust deepens. You are not defined by seasons. You are defined by relationship. God remains constant even when assignments shift. So do not rush to label the next chapter before it reveals itself. Sit in the in-between without panic. The wilderness between Egypt and the Promised Land was not wasted, it was formative. Transitions clarify values. They expose attachments. They deepen reliance. And they prepare you for what cannot be entered carrying old weights. Chosen one, let go with dignity. Close chapters without burning pages. Bless what blessed you. Release what completed you. And trust that God never removes without replacing, though replacement often looks different than expected. In the final part, we will speak about new beginnings, not as hype, but as alignment. How to step forward without dragging the past, how to enter the next chapter with humility and courage, and how to walk into what God has been quietly preparing beyond your sight. Stay present, chosen one. Endings are not the loss of purpose, they are the doorway to it. Chosen one. This is not a restart. This is a continuation on a higher frequency. What lies before you now is not chaos, not uncertainty, not a void. It is a new beginning that has been quietly forming while you were faithful in the previous season. God does not end chapters without already drafting the next one. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into alignment. And alignment feels different than excitement. Excitement is loud. Alignment is calm. Excitement rushes. Alignment steadies. If you're expecting fireworks, and instead you feel a deep, quiet certainty that's not disappointment, that's maturity. Chosen one new beginnings rarely announce themselves with noise. They begin as invitations, gentle nudges, small openings, subtle clarity. They require discernment, not adrenaline. This is where many rush ahead, dragging old expectations, old wounds, old identities into what God is doing next. But hear this clearly, you cannot enter a new season carrying expired definitions. The next chapter does not need the armor you used in the last battle. Lay it down, not because it was wrong, but because it has done its job. New beginnings require humility, the willingness to learn again, to listen again, to move without full visibility. Even seasoned leaders must become students when God shifts the terrain. This is not regression, this is obedience. Chosen one, you may feel the temptation to recreate what worked before, familiar structures, proven methods, known rhythms, but God is not calling you to repeat success. He is calling you to respond to presence. What worked then was for then. What works now will be revealed as you move. This is where trust becomes active. Trust does not mean waiting for certainty before stepping. It means stepping with God while certainty forms. Abraham left without a map. Moses walked into water before it parted. Peter stepped onto waves before stability existed. Faith is rarely comfortable at the threshold of new beginnings, but it is always rewarded with revelation. Chosen one, enter this season lightly, not careless but unburdened. Do not rush to fill silence. Do not rush to define everything. Do not rush to explain yourself. Let the season speak first. Pay attention to what brings peace, not pressure. Pay attention to what grows naturally, not what must be forced. God's leading is firm, but it is never frantic. Now let's address fear, because fear often shows up disguised as wisdom at this stage. Fear says, be careful, you've come too far to mess this up. Wisdom says, be present, God is still leading. Fear makes you grip control. Wisdom teaches you to steward trust. You are not responsible for orchestrating outcomes. You are responsible for obedience, and obedience is simpler than fear makes it. One step, one decision, one day at a time. Chosen one. There will be moments in this new beginning when you feel small again, when you feel like you're starting over, when you question your readiness. Do not despise that feeling. It keeps you teachable. It keeps you prayerful. It keeps you aligned. God resists pride, but He empowers humility. And humility attracts grace. Grace to learn, grace to adjust, grace to grow without breaking. This season will require courage, not loud courage, but steady courage. The courage to be misunderstood again, the courage to move without applause, the courage to obey before results confirm the decision. But you've done this before. You survived hidden seasons. You endured resistance. You stewarded influence. You released endings. You are not inexperienced. You are prepared, just not rigid. And that's exactly how God uses people. Chosen one, do not look for the next season to validate you. Let it shape you. Validation fades. Formation lasts. You are not here to prove you were right. You are here to become faithful. Faithfulness is heaven's language, and heaven has been watching you, watching how you handled obscurity, watching how you handled visibility, watching how you handled pressure, watching how you handled endings. And now heaven trusts you with beginnings. This new chapter will not look like the last one, and that is a gift. It means God is not recycling you, He is advancing you. So step forward without nostalgia, step forward without fear, step forward without needing to know everything, because the one who called you is already there. As Isaiah chapter 43 reminds us, God is doing a new thing, not a louder thing, not a faster thing, a new thing, and you will perceive it not through force, but through faith. Chosen one, you are not late, you are not early, you are on time. Walk gently, walk obediently, walk forward. This is not the end of your story. It is the continuation of a life aligned, and alignment once found changes everything. Chosen one. As we come to the close of this sacred moment, let your spirit rest in the truth that nothing you've heard was by chance. Heaven has marked this hour for you. Your sealed scroll is opening, your hidden assignment is unfolding, and you are standing in your exact Kairos moment on heaven's clock. Anointed one, may peace anchor your heart, may clarity guard your steps, and may faith rise as you move forward. Stay aligned, stay faithful. What has been written for you will now begin to manifest. If this word stirred your spirit, leave a witness below and remain connected as this journey continues. Go in strength, walk in light. Your time has come.